Revealed, Billionaire discovers a homeless girl instructing his daughter, the amazing life changer. Paul McAllister once ruled his corner of the corporate world. A glimmering tower in downtown Chicago stood as a testament to his success, but the glow was dimming, and his family was fading with it. At 42, Paul was drowning in an ocean of scandal and disappointment. His daughter, Ellie, a vibrant 16-year-old with dreams as bold as the city lights outside their lavish high-rise, infused joy into the cracked foundation of their home. Yet, Paul couldn't see it, his eyes too clouded by the shadows of his tarnished reputation. On a breezy Saturday, you could find Ellie at the community art fair, far from the sterile halls of her father's world. As she wandered through stalls, her heart raced with excitement. The vibrant colors danced around her, and laughter echoed from faces heavy with stories. But one face caught her eye: Lily, a 14-year-old girl hunched over, her fingers swirling paint onto a canvas that transformed agony into beauty. There was something magical about the way Lily painted, spilling her soul onto the canvas, as if each brushstroke was a note in a melodic song of resilience. "You can see the world like this too, you know," Lily beamed, her hazel eyes sparkling with life. Ellie couldn't help but smile, mesmerized by this unfiltered passion. It was a warmth that her father's cold expectations made her forget. As their bond grew over shared laughter and artistic dreams, Ellie felt a light within her flicker to life, a yearning to make a real difference in a city that was leaving so many behind. "Let us organize an exhibit," she burst out one evening, her heart racing. "We'll showcase the stories of those who are struggling. Art can bring people together." But back at home, Paul could barely contain his frustration. He slammed his fist against the mahogany table, startling Ellie. "You're not some do-gooder. You need to think about your future, Ellie. Helping a homeless girl isn't going to pay the bills." He was like a storm trapped between four walls, his anger crashing against Ellie's fragile hopes. The arguments escalated, cries of motherly instinct and filial rejection filling their sleek apartment. Neighbors peeked in, curious whispers swirling through the air. In that moment, Paul could see the crack widening in what was left of their family bond. And perhaps, just perhaps, those words he hurled at Ellie shattered more than just her dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just as their lives hung on a thread, the ground beneath Paul vanished. He lost his job. The corporate empire he had built crumbled, and he was thrust into the harsh reality that he had long ignored. As Paul wandered the city streets, he began to witness Ellie's vision unfold. At the art exhibit, the glimmer in Ellie's eyes shone through like a beacon. People gathered to celebrate stories, sharing laughter and support. Paul stood at the edge, tears prickling his eyes as he watched her. The warmth of connection washed over him, and he realized how narrow his world had become. But how could he reach for the hand Ellie extended? Would he ever learn to value what truly matters: love, community, and the beauty of human connection? As he stood there, feeling the weight of his choices, Paul wrestled with his pride, heartbreak threading through his chest. What would it take for his heart to be open again? Ellie smiled at him from across the crowd, and the question lingered in the air: could they find their way back to each other, or was it too late? The next morning, sunlight poured through the high-rise windows, casting lines of warmth across cold marble floors. Paul lay awake in a vast, empty bed, the weight of his new reality pressing down on him like a heavy quilt. His mind replayed the night before, the joy in Ellie's voice, the resilience in Lily's art, all of it a stark contrast to his own dark thoughts. He shifted to the side, staring out at the sprawling city, feeling more like a ghost than a man with a future. Determined to break free from the shackles of his despair, he left the apartment, stepping into the world that had become foreign to him. Each step echoed with uncertainty as he made his way through familiar streets that now felt alien. The laughter that used to surround him in boardrooms had been replaced with the murmurs of everyday life, children playing, couples arguing, life moving forward without him. Paul felt an instinctive pull toward the community center where Ellie had put so much of herself into the art exhibit. He arrived to find the space buzzing with excitement. Colorful paintings adorned the walls, and laughter punctuated the air as artists shared their stories. Among them, he spotted Ellie, laughter spilling out as she chatted with Lily. Their joy was infectious, and he couldn't help but smile. But doubt tore at him. Could he truly step into this vibrant world and reclaim his daughter? What would he say? His heart raced as he hesitated at the door, torn between stepping inside or retreating back to the shadows. Just then, Ellie's laughter rang out again, slicing through his self-doubt. "Dad!" She spotted him and rushed over, her smile lighting up the dull ache in his chest. "You came." The warmth of her embrace enveloped him, and for a moment, the weight of the world lifted. "I wanted to see what you've created," he said, his voice catching. How was it that in this moment, surrounded by vibrant colors and hope, he felt both joy and shame? "Look at this." Ellie pulled him toward a particularly striking piece. It depicted a city, but through Lily's eyes so much beauty amidst the chaos. "This is what I've been talking about. Art can change lives. It's a way to connect people." Paul nodded, trying to absorb her enthusiasm, feeling the need to prove himself. "Your passion is incredible, Ellie. But I've realized something too," he said slowly. "I've been a fool, focused on things that don't matter. You're fighting a battle that I've ignored for too long." Tears formed in Ellie's eyes, and for a fleeting moment, he thought they might be able to bridge that gap. But just as quickly, that thought was overshadowed by his fear of failure. What if he wasn't enough? What if he was too broken to mend their relationship? Through the crowd, Lily approached them, her eyes shining. "Hey, Paul. I'm so glad you came. Ellie told me what happened. I admire you for being here." Paul felt a flush of embarrassment. "I'm working on it," he managed, not quite meeting her gaze. Ellie grabbed his hand, squeezing it tightly. "This is the beginning, Dad. We can build something together." But in the back of his mind, a voice whispered doubt. Could he truly let go of the old Paul, the corporate titan, and embrace this new life, filled with uncertainty and community? As the event unfolded, the air thick with optimism, Paul watched his daughter shining, hopeful and courageous. In that moment, he knew he had a choice to make a leap into the unknown or retreat to his safe but lonely past. And just as the last light of the sunset began to fade, an unexpected figure appeared at the door, an old colleague from his corporate days, holding an envelope, a look of concern etched into his forehead. What could he want? Paul's heart raced as he scanned the room, Ellie engaged in art and laughter, completely unaware of the storm approaching. Time stood still as the weight of the past threatened to collide with his new hopes for the future. Would this message redefine everything? Or would it push him further away from the daughter he desperately wanted to reconnect with? His heart thrummed loudly in his chest as Paul saw the old colleague, Tom, step forward. The room filled with chatter felt like a distant hum, fading into the background as anxiety twisted in his stomach. Tom had always been the type to keep things professional. Seeing him here, at this gathering of artists and hope, made Paul's skin prickle. "Paul," Tom greeted, his voice low but urgent. "Can we talk?" Ellie glanced over, her eyes flickering between Paul and her friend, a small frown creasing her forehead. "Dad?" she called, concern slipping into her voice. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, Paul started," but Tom stepped closer, his gaze locked onto Paul's, oblivious to the lightness surrounding them. "Now," Tom insisted, "it's important." With a reluctant nod from Ellie, he stepped outside with Tom, his heart heavy with foreboding. The air outside felt strangely colder, an unsettling chill that wrapped around him. He leaned against the wall, the rough surface grounding him as he tried to catch up with his racing thoughts. "What is going on, Tom?" he asked, eyes narrowing at the envelope Tom held tightly. "This came for you," Tom said, his voice low enough that only Paul could hear. "It's from the company. They're restructuring, Paul. Your position, it might be at risk." Shock gripped him. "But I thought I know what you thought," Tom cut in. "But they're making cuts all over the place. Your name is on the list. I didn't want you to find out in a meeting." Paul felt the walls around him begin to close in. Everything he had fought to escape was rushing back like a tidal wave. The corporate world he had left behind, the place that had drained him and pushed him away from Ellie, was now threatening to pull him back in. "What am I supposed to do?" Panic tinged his voice, the uncertainty clawing at his throat. "Reassess, maybe?" Tom suggested, but his tone lacked conviction. "You're talented, Paul. You're a great asset to the company." "Or a relic," Paul muttered under his breath, the weight of disappointment heavy on his shoulders. With a sudden jolt, he remembered Ellie's artwork, her fight, her passion. This world, this community, could he leave it behind again for something that had already cost him so dearly? And how would Ellie feel if he turned his back on the progress he had just begun to make? As if sensing his turmoil, Tom reached out and put a hand on Paul's shoulder. "Just think about it. You don't have to respond right away." Paul stared at the envelope, its edges sharp against the reality it carried. He rubbed his eyes, feeling the exhaustion settle in again like an unwelcome guest. What if he took the job? Would it mean living in two worlds that were at odds with each other? "I need to get back to my daughter," he finally said, his voice steadier than he felt. "Thanks for letting me know." As he turned to re-enter the community center, he felt Tom's hand linger, a silent reminder of the weight of responsibility he could still bear. He walked in and searched for Ellie, only to find her standing with Lily, her hands animated as she explained her latest project. How could he tell her about the envelope? "Dad!" she squealed, her joy breaking through his fog. He felt his heart swell a little at the sight of her. She was so alive and vibrant, a stark contrast to the weight on his heart. "Ellie," he said softly, needing a moment of clarity. "Do you want to see the mural we're working on?" Her eyes sparkled with excitement. The choice loomed before him. Return to the past or embrace the future, full of risk and art and connection. But before he could answer, a shout burst through the crowd, a karmic shift as a figure stumbled into the center, claiming everyone's attention. "Help!" the stranger cried, panting heavily as eyes turned, nervously drawn to the chaos unfolding. Paul's heart plummeted. What now? And as he moved closer, a shocking revelation struck him. This stranger seemed eerily familiar, igniting a new wave of dread and uncertainty. What had he walked into now? Paul pushed through the crowd, each heartbeat echoing with confusion. The stranger was on his knees, panting and disheveled. His clothes hung off him in ragged pieces, a muddle of earth tones that blended into the floor's worn tiles. But it was the look in the man's eyes that seized Paul, a wild mix of desperation and recognition. "Please, I need your help." The man gasped, voice strained. "Who is he?" Someone whispered behind Paul, but he didn't turn to look. He was too focused, too caught up in an instinctive need to help. The man rose, shaking slightly, and his gaze met Paul's, a veil of familiarity washed over the moment. "I know you, I'm not crazy. We met years ago." Pieces started to fall into place in Paul's mind. The man had worked in real estate, long before Paul had drifted away from that world for good. This was Greg, a name barely remembered, overshadowed by the noise of the past. "Greg?" Paul blurted out, the word tasting strange on his tongue. "What happened to you?" Before Greg could answer, Ellie made her way through the thrumming crowd, her small frame alight with worry. "Dad? Is everything okay?" At the sight of Ellie, Greg's eyes widened. "Ellie? Do you know him?" Paul glanced back, trying to gauge her reaction. Sort of. Her brow furrowed, her tone a mix of curiosity and caution. He was at one of the art fairs. I think I remember him. Greg took a step forward, brushing the dirt from his jeans, revealing a hint of a smile. Ellie, you don't remember me like this. But I saw your art. It's amazing you have a gift. Thanks. Ellie's words drifted off, uncertainty clouding her features. Look, Greg paused, his breath hitching, and Paul could see the struggle behind his eyes. I've been living on the streets. It's been hard, but I saw something in you. In your art. And I had to tell her what? Paul interrupted, protective instincts firing up. You can't just barge in here after disappearing. You need to explain yourself. Greg met Paul's gaze, his eyes sparking with something that felt like fire mixed with fear. I was going to tell her that art can change lives. That her passion could be something beautiful. But I've lost everything, and I'm sorry for bursting in like this. No one is expecting you to apologize, Paul said, feeling an odd sense of kinship. But you need to be more careful. You can't just. Ellie stepped forward, her voice steady despite the tremor in the air. Wait. Can you tell me more about what you mean? About art and change? Paul cursed softly under his breath, feeling the ground shift beneath him. He was stuck between his daughter's curiosity and the unsettling reality of the man before him. He hadn't been prepared for thoughts of his past to resurrect here, no less amidst a gathering that had ignited a life within him. I've seen people change because of it, Greg continued, his eyes finding their way back to Ellie. Art brings new perspectives, it can spark hope. I want you to believe in that. Believe in what, exactly? Paul interrupted again, skepticism pulling at his gut. You've got to own what you say, Greg. Not everyone will follow you because of good intentions. Dad. Ellie's voice was soft yet firm. Let him talk. Paul took a deep breath, weighing the trust he placed in Ellie against the man he barely recognized. In the pause, Paul felt raw threads of doubt quivering inside him. The weight of the envelope in his pocket seemed heavier with every passing moment. Fine, Paul replied, pushing through his uncertainty. Talk. But don't think we'll just take your words at face value. There's a lot at stake. The corner of Greg's mouth lifted slightly. That's more than fair. Sometimes all it takes is one person believing in you to change everything. As he spoke, Paul couldn't shake the feeling that this moment was a tipping point, that whatever Greg shared next would unravel something deeper inside him. The crowd around them quieted, the tension thick enough to touch. But just as Greg opened his mouth to speak again, a loud crash echoed from the entrance, drawing everyone's attention. Paul turned sharply. Heart racing. What now? Before he could fully process the new chaos, he caught Ellie's wide eyes searching for reassurance, and the slip of doubt that had been creeping in slipped into a new fear. What awaited them at the threshold? Was there still more to be revealed, or was this just the beginning of an unraveling truth that would affect them all? The heavy doors swung open, the sounds of laughter and chatter slipping outside as a dozen faces turned to the entrance. Paul squinted against the glare from the sunlight spilling in. Shadows lurked just beyond the threshold, hinting at a disturbance. A group of young people burst through, their bodies filled with energy, a mix of laughter and exclamations filling the air. At the center stood a girl, her wild hair catching the light, arms raised as if she had just emerged victorious from a battle. Did you see that? She shouted, grinning widely. You should have seen his face. Priceless. An instant wave of relief washed over Paul, but it was quickly overshadowed by confusion. His heart settled back to its usual rhythm, though he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Ellie's eyes brightened, but Paul noticed the flicker of concern in their depths. Who are they? Paul whispered to Ellie, trying to keep his voice low under the growing buzz. They're friends from school, she replied, her voice tinged with excitement but also a hint of something else, uncertainty. As the swarm of teenagers spilled into the gallery, Greg took a cautious step backward, like a shadow ready to retreat. Ellie caught the movement. "No. Stay," she urged softly, turning to the group. "Guys, this is Greg. He has something to share." The girl at the front, now noticing Greg, raised her eyebrows. "Wait, like, the homeless guy?" She blurted out, curiosity laced with a hint of judgment. The light-hearted aura shifted slightly, tension threading through the air. "Yeah, let us not label people," Ellie said defensively, stepping forward. "Greg has an incredible story." "Sure," the girl said, crossing her arms. "Everyone has a story. Doesn't it mean we have to care?" Paul stepped in, instinctively protective. "That's not fair. Just because someone's in a hard place doesn't mean they don't have something important to offer." Dad Ellie's voice was sharp, a quiet plea. It was too much. The annoyance flickered in Paul's chest. He had fought too hard to protect this moment for Ellie, and yet here they were, teetering on a cliff of misunderstanding. Greg moved forward, now standing taller. "Look, it's okay. I get it. But I really believe in Ellie's talent," he said, addressing the group, his voice steady despite the quivering of his hands. "Art made a difference for me once. I can see it in her work. There's magic there. That drew their attention, if only momentarily." "Magic, huh?" The girl scoffed, but a shadow of intrigue glimmered in her eyes. "Yeah." Ellie jumped in. "Magic. You wouldn't believe how a painting could change the way someone sees the world." "Seriously?" the girl asked, throwing her head back in laughter. "You think a little paint and canvas is gonna save us all?" Paul felt heat rise in his cheeks, the frustration that flared within him. He watched Ellie, the way she stood with conviction, trying to defend not just her passion but Greg as well. There was strength in her that he hadn't seen in a while, a light that refused to be dimmed. "Maybe it can," Ellie said, her voice growing softer yet holding firm. "Maybe it can at least give someone a reason to hope." In that moment, the group paused, tension still hanging like a heavy fog, and Paul could see their confusion slowly shift into something deeper. As they hovered at the line between skepticism and curiosity, Greg glanced at Ellie and then at Paul, a flicker of gratitude passing between them. Just as Paul opened his mouth to encourage the conversation, another crash reverberated from the entrance. This time, it wasn't laughter echoing through the gallery but an unmistakable shout, angry and demanding. "Hey! Where's Greg? I need to see him." Every eye turned towards the door, and the overwhelming sense of unease crashed back in, enveloping them. What now? Who was calling for Greg? And would this finally unravel the thread that connected them all? The heavy footsteps echoed through the gallery, the sound cutting through the tension like a knife. Paul's heart raced as he scanned the doorway, anxiety coiling tightly in his chest. A tall man, rugged and fierce, stood in the entrance. His face was flushed with anger, and eyes like storm clouds swept the room. "Greg! I know you're in here." He barked, scanning the startled faces before fixing his glare on Greg, who had shrunk back but stood his ground, determination flickering in his eyes. "Who is that?" Someone whispered from the back of the crowd, a nervous ripple running through the group as they shifted uncomfortably. "Someone from my old life," Greg murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, yet it carried the weight of an anchor. Ellie's stance visibly tensed beside Paul. He could feel her anxiety radiating off her. "Greg, is it safe?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Greg remained silent, but the tension stretched like a drawn bow. Paul stepped forward, an instinctive urge to protect. "This isn't how you treat someone," he called out, his voice steady despite the fear curling in his gut. The man took a step forward, pushing aside the laughter and chatter like an old curtain, revealing the truth hidden beneath. "I'm not leaving until I get answers," he shouted, anger making him jagged. "Why are you here?" Greg challenged, his voice gaining strength. I thought you were done with all that. Done? Like I could ever be done with someone like you? The man's laugh was sharp, cruel. Do you have any idea how much you cost me? Paul's fists clenched, the pit of his stomach tightening. He could feel Ellie's eyes darting between them, searching for answers. You don't get to play the victim anymore, Greg shot back, his tone rising with each word. You left me behind. I found a way to survive. A muted gasp spread through the gallery. High schoolers whispering amongst themselves, sharing expressions of shock. Paul could see the uncertainty on their faces transform into a shared concern, a collective understanding that something deeper was at play. Greg, maybe we should be. Ellie started, but Paul cut her off. No, let him speak, he urged, his reflection on Greg pushing him forward. In that moment, admiration for Greg swelled within him. The man scoffed, arms crossed. Survive? Is that what you're calling this dumpster life? Living out here like a stray dog? Better a stray dog than a man without a heart, Greg fired back, his voice becoming raw, the passion bleeding through. I've had to fight every day to keep my head above water. I'm not ashamed of who I am anymore. Enough. The man roared, and Paul felt a ripple of fear course through the group. You think you can just walk away from your past? Your mistakes? I'm done playing nice. You owe me, and I'm not leaving until I collect. In that moment, Greg's resolve faltered, his face clouding over with memories Paul couldn't begin to fathom. The laughter that had filled the room was now stifled, replaced by heavy breaths and wide eyes. Ellie stepped closer to Greg, her gaze unwavering. You have a choice, she whispered, a gentle plea. We all do. You can't let him define your worth. The weight of words sunk in. Everyone in the gallery sensed it, their breaths held tight. Paul felt a tremor of hope that perhaps Greg wasn't in that alone. Just then, a distant siren wailed, breaking the fragile spell. Paul's heart raced again, but this time with urgency. This confrontation was only beginning. Greg, don't let him take any more from you, Paul urged, his voice low but firm. As more footsteps echoed from outside, anticipation hung thick in the air. The next words Greg spoke could change everything. Would he fight back or let the past dictate his path? What would happen next? Would they uncover the truth behind Greg's past, or would the shadows close in around them? Greg took a deep breath, the air thick with charged emotions. His mind raced through a million scenarios, each one leading to a different outcome. The man in the doorway seemed to grow taller and more imposing with each passing second. A battle was brewing, and Paul could feel everyone waiting for the first move to break the silence. Greg, the man growled, stepping into the gallery, I'm not just here to reminisce. You don't get to run away from what you owe me. You owe me big time. The weight of the threatening declaration hung in the air, heavy and oppressive. Paul felt his heart pound faster. He couldn't let this go on. Not when Greg had worked so hard to rise above his past. Why don't you just leave him alone? Paul called out, voice steady, as he fought against the fear creeping in. What do you want? Money? Revenge? You think you'll bring him down by bullying him like this? The man's lips curled into a condescending smile. Such a good little friend you are. But you don't understand. Greg doesn't just owe me money, he owes me loyalty. And that's the hardest debt to pay. Loyalty. Greg shot back, a fire igniting in his chest. You twisted that word into something ugly. You had me shackled to a life I didn't want. His voice shook but remained strong, resonating in the gallery like a battle cry. Suddenly, a murmur swept through the crowd as people began to connect the dots. Greg was no longer a victim hiding in the shadows, he was rising like a phoenix, emboldened by their presence. You think shouting at me here helps? The man sneered, brushing away Greg's words. Let us see how you feel when you have nothing left to cling to. When your little friends turn their backs on you. They won't. Paul interjected fiercely, his chest swelling with an urge to protect. We're not going anywhere. You're not going to tear him down again. Ah, but you don't have to be alone to be lonely. The man's voice dripped with disdain. It's funny how quickly people slip away when you don't meet their expectations. Ellie moved beside Greg, a beacon of unwavering support. We're in this together, Greg, she asserted, locking her gaze with his, steady and bright. You don't have to face him alone, even if he tries to convince you otherwise. You matter, and we see that. The strength in her words sent a quiet resolve through the crowd, uniting them. Greg's shoulders squared, the determination seeped into his voice and pushed away the ghosts of doubt. You think I'll crumble? This is my life. I'll face my past, but it won't define my future. Silence enveloped the gallery for a heartbeat before another siren echoed outside, loud and urgent, like a wake-up call. The man faltered, his bravado dimming for an instant as conflicting emotions flickered across his face. But then he regained his composure, a calculated sneer returning. Do you really think it's that easy, Greg? You think just words can save you? He challenged. Let us see what happens when the cops arrive. Let us see how well you play with the big boys. Paul felt the air crackle with tension, he could sense the storm brewing. Would Greg break free from this storm, or would the weight of his past drag him under? Your threats don't scare me anymore, Greg replied, voice steady, but underneath, Paul felt the trembles of uncertainty. He needed to keep Greg focused, keep him fortified against this looming darkness. Just remember, this is far from over, the man warned, and with that, he advanced a step closer, the crowd parting reluctantly like water around a ship, leaving them in tense eye contact. Paul prepared himself for the fight that felt like it could erupt at any moment, ready to stand by Greg through whatever was to come. Would they break the cycle of fear once and for all? As the sirens approached, the collective anxiety rose, and the question hung in the air, would this moment lead to freedom, or would Greg's past catch up with him in a way none of them could foresee? The air felt electric as the man stepped forward, his intent clear. Greg's heart raced, a mix of fear and exhilaration flooding his veins. He glanced toward Paul, who stood firm, an unwavering pillar of strength despite the chaos. Just back off. Paul shouted, voice carrying a fierce edge. You've had your time. This is Greg's moment. The man scoffed, moment. You really think he has come so far? One confrontation won't change all that. Greg clenched his fists, digging his nails into his palms as he fought to contain his anger. The memories of betrayal and manipulation flooded back, but now they fueled his resolve. I'm not that person anymore, he said loudly, each word a step toward reclaiming his life. You can't keep dragging me down with your lies. The man's smile turned menacing, revealing the darkness behind his carefully crafted facade. Oh, but I can. And I will. Watch your back, Greg. I'll be waiting, he said, then turned, leaving behind a lingering tension that felt almost like a threat hanging over them. As soon as he stepped out, the crowd erupted in murmurs. The heaviness shifted, and Paul could sense a collective sigh of relief. But in the pit of his stomach, he felt the knot of anxiety tightening. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Did everyone see that? Ellie hurriedly asked, her brow knitted. We need to call the police. That guy is dangerous. Greg shook his head, still staring at the door through which the man had just exited. No, let him come. I'm not afraid of him anymore. His tone was a mix of defiance and fearlessness, yet doubt lingered beneath the surface. Greg, we can't just ignore this. He'll probably try to retaliate, Paul urged, stepping closer to him. I get that. But I owe it to myself to stand my ground. People can't just walk in and out of my life and expect me to be scared. Greg looked around at the faces surrounding him, their support palpable. I owe it to all of you to be strong. Ellie placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, her touch warm and grounding. We're with you. No matter what happens next. We face it together. As the sirens wailed into the overcast sky, Greg found solace in their unity. But the reality of the situation weighed heavily. He could already feel the old tapes of defeat trying to replay in his mind, but he pushed against them, focusing on the strength of his friends. I know it's only going to get messier, he murmured, staring down at the gallery floor. I don't know if I'm ready to face it all again. You are, Paul said, determination sharp in his voice. You've already come so far. We'll face whatever he throws at you. Their eyes locked, a promise sealed between them. The sirens faded, replaced by a tense silence. I'll be here every step, Paul added quietly, squeezing Greg's shoulder. But the words hung there uneasily as an unexpected realization dawned on Greg. What if the threat didn't come just from the man? What if it could come from those he once considered allies? Just then, the gallery door swung open again, and the air thickened once more. A familiar figure stepped in, eyes scanning the crowd before locking onto Greg's. What is going on? Desiree, his old mentor, called out, concern knitting her brow. The unresolved tension coiled tighter within Greg's chest. Was this a moment of healing or another blow to push him back down? He felt the weight of unseen eyes upon him, and deep inside, a whisper echoed his fear. What if confronting his past wasn't just about that man? What if his real challenge was figuring out who he could truly trust moving forward? Desiree stepped fully into the gallery, her presence an anchor in the chaotic sea of emotions swirling around Greg. He had trusted her once, cherishing the guidance she had offered during the turbulent chapters of his life. But now, with the chilling ambiguity that filled the room, he felt an unease creeping back, tarnishing memories he once held dear. Desiree! Ellie exclaimed, breaking the silence that had fallen around them. It's a long story, but things just took a turn. Desiree's eyes darted between the group, reading their faces for clues. She was like a bird of prey, alert and ready to swoop down as tension thickened the air. I heard shouting outside. What did he want? Her voice, smooth yet authoritative, cut through the murmurs like a knife. Greg hesitated, uncertain how much of his burgeoning confidence to reveal. The words barely formed on his tongue, each one laced with uncertainty. Would she judge him? Would she see him as weak, just like before? Nothing I can't handle, Greg finally replied, his voice stronger than he felt. I'm done running from my past. Desiree's eyes narrowed slightly, concern etched into her features. That's a brave stance. But remember, confronting the past doesn't always lead to what you expect. Her gaze lingered on him, a silent question asking him about his resolve. Paul stepped in, his voice steady. We're all in this together, Desiree. And Greg is stronger than he has ever been. For a moment, Greg felt gratitude wash over him. This is what support looked like, this fierce loyalty in the eyes of his friends. But then, doubt crept back. Had he been fooling himself? Why are you really here, Desiree? Greg pushed, his heart thumping. This isn't just a casual visit, is it? Her expression shifted, becoming serious. I came because I heard something unsettling. People have been watching you. The word struck Greg like a cold splash of water. Watching me? Why? What do you mean? Desiree leaned closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. The man who just left isn't just any person. He is well connected, and I think he is targeting you. Every muscle in Greg's body tensed at the mention of the man's name. What do you know about him? He is a manipulator, Greg. He knows how to twist people around his finger. Desiree paused, gauging their reactions. And not everyone you trust will stand by you like Paul and Ellie. Fear shot through Greg, an icy shiver that rattled his core. What are you implying? You mean someone here? They could be anyone, she said, her eyes scanning the group before settling back on Greg. Even friends can wear masks. You've got to choose who you confide in carefully. Greg's heart raced, thoughts spiraling. Was there really someone among them who could betray him? The familiar sensation of isolation clung to him like a second skin. Had he truly been so naive? Ellie's voice broke through his spiraling thoughts. We all face this together. Right, Greg? Yeah, his voice trailed off, uncertainty clouding the bravado he had summoned. Desiree's expression softened just a touch. You've done well, Greg. But brace yourself. The real challenge is just beginning. Just then, the gallery door slammed open again, catching everyone off guard. A tall figure walked in, lit by the soft gallery lights, face obscured by shadows. Tension reinvigorated the air as everyone turned toward the newcomer. What now? Greg muttered under his breath, heart racing once more. Could this stranger bring the answers he desperately sought or plunge him deeper into chaos? The atmosphere buzzed with tension as the newcomer stepped into the gallery, shadows dancing across their face. Minutes felt like hours as the crowd held its collective breath, eyes darting between Greg and the mysterious figure. Who are you? Paul called out firmly, positioning himself protectively beside Greg and Ellie. You have no business here. The figure raised a hand, revealing a face that seemed oddly familiar. It's me, Greg. It's Mia. A wave of shock washed over Greg. Mia, the fiery, passionate artist he had known years ago, before the world had taken them on vastly different paths. Mia. His voice cracked, disbelief pulling at the corners of his mind. Is it really you? Yeah, she said, stepping into the light. Her eyes sparkled with the same determination he remembered. I heard about what happened. I had to come. I've been tracking that man who just left. You've been tracking him? Greg echoed, confusion mixed with a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. Why? Because he has been a threat to others too. I've seen what he can do, he is dangerous. And you need to be careful about trusting people, even those who were once close to you. Paul shifted uneasily beside Greg. How do we know you can trust her? He was protective, understandably so, given the fragile state of Greg's past and present. Because I know what it's like to carry the burden of shame and fear. Greg doesn't have to confront this alone, Mia said, her gaze locking with his, sincerity radiating from every word. If we stand together, we can fight against him. He doesn't own your life anymore. The weight of her words hung poignantly in the air as Dave, the man from before, was just a ghost haunting the edges of Greg's reality. He nodded slowly, feeling the power of connection pulsing through the room. Exactly, Ellie spoke up. We've built a community here. You don't have to go back to that dark place. Greg's throat tightened as he looked at the faces surrounding him, familiar, supportive, and warm. They looked to him, waiting for him to affirm their beliefs, to break free from the chains of his past. That's right, he said, feeling the strength pooling within him. I'm not afraid anymore. I'll deal with him, and I know I have people who believe in me. Mia nodded in agreement. We're all in this fight together. You deserve your freedom, she affirmed, her words like a soft caress against the scars of the past. Just then, a gentle knock on the door broke through the heated moment. Before anyone could react, the door creaked open. A police officer stood there, concern written across his features. We received a call about some disturbances. Is everyone all right? More than all right, Paul stepped forward, relief flooding him. We're just having a conversation about community and support and standing together. The officer's expression softened, encouraging the transparency of the gallery's spirit. Good to hear. Just remember to keep things safe in here. He turned to Greg. I've seen a lot of people rise above their situations. Don't let anyone pull you back down. Those simple words echoed in Greg's mind, and everything began to crystallize. Could it really be this simple? A decision for a new life, grounded in love and support. After everything, this feels like a new beginning, Greg finally said, looking around the room filled with laughter and vibrant energy. I'm not alone anymore. It's time to embrace the possibilities. Ellie chimed in, her eyes sparkling. And with that, the weight of the past began to lift as they all stepped closer to Greg, surrounding him with warmth and acceptance. They stood there, a family formed not by blood or obligation, but by shared experiences, dreams, and love. The future ahead shimmered like the colorful canvases that adorned the walls. Strength and hope took root in each heart, every brushstroke of struggle transformed into a masterpiece blooming with promise. "Let us create something beautiful together," Greg proposed, breathing in the vibrant energy. "Art can change lives, mine is proof." Cheers erupted as everyone rallied around the idea, an entire community uniting to reclaim hope. And as they crafted plans for their upcoming projects, laughter filled the gallery, and the past became a whisper behind them. "I'll be waiting with you through all of it," Paul said, squeezing Greg's shoulder, the full circle of healing complete. This was the moment. The future shone as brightly as the city lights. It was time to embrace it. As the shadows faded, the gallery blossomed with the light of transformation. And as they stepped into their new day together, they all knew this was just the beginning. They had ignited a fire within their hearts, a spark that promised warmth and unwavering strength. Before you go, don't forget it's time to support this journey. You need to subscribe now for more exclusive stories that uplift and inspire. Leave a like immediately to show your love for this momentous transformation. And I want to hear from you. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this epic ending. Let us spread this light. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know that change is possible. Don't wait not even one more second to uplift someone else with this message.